also that the teachers' children won't be paying school fees, and we just have this yesterday by the Secretary General of the NUT, Dr. Mike Ike, who granted an interview and said none of those promises have been implemented, that everything ended at the table of the Salaries and Wages Commission. What would you say of this, Mr. Rufai?
Is that not reflective of what the last government was all about? Mm. That's all I'm going to tell you. It was reflective of what the last government was all about. Not following promises to the latter, just making promises there. Can you knock off the hallback, please? I mean,
I've done that. Go ahead.
Please don't forget that next time. Please.
All right. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So I mean, that's indicative of what the last administration was. So I'm not surprised. But please, we must do something for our teachers. Our teachers are poorly remunerated, and that's why I was a little bit taken aback. The revenue mobilization was trying to mobilize and review salaries. They put up a recommendation for reviewing salaries of our president and our leaders when our teachers are suffering. It shows you the kind of mindset our politicians have. Yeah. It shows you how selfish they are. They only think of themselves alone. Anyway, I know President Tinubu will never even listen to such a thing. I know. Okay. I want to trust he will never listen to such a thing because truth has to be said. There are other areas we need to fix. We need to be able to improve revenue for our doctors, what is it called? What are they called now? Our police officers and our teachers and critical sectors in the economy. But our politicians that are already rich want to get richer at the expense of the state. How much more are they going to do? So we must revisit things like that. And you know why we must also do that? Because there's a lot of hardship with what has gone on now, with the change in the economy and all of that, with the convergence, the increase in the dollar rate, the convergence and things like that. All there's a pass-through effect on the people. Life is getting harder. People are suffering.
Yeah.
Subsidy removal is fighting hard. So once you have all of this, then we must be able to increase wages for all of them. So this is part of the palliative and the package they have for the country. You can't just say Nigerians to go and suffer and die. So I'm not surprised that the last administration just left it like that. We've had a government full of empty promises over the years, and that's how they behave. And that's why we must understand that elections matter. And all our leaders are accountable.
All right, Mr. Rufai, I want to ask you this question because I believe government is supposed to be a continuous process. But what do you think we would do in this country, considering the fact that we have a lot of promises made by a previous administration? The successor would inherit and not do anything about it, especially this kind of mindset that people have about a legacy project. Considering the fact that at some point last year, there was this information released by Chartered Institute of Project Managers of Nigeria that we have over 56,000 abandoned projects scattered around this country, Nigeria. The issue of legacy project, this government will come and don't want to consolidate or continue on what was started by their predecessor, thinking that whatever we do, we're not going to get the credit. It's still going to go to the previous administration. What should we do to have a change of mindset towards that?
At first, the day we remove small-mindedness from politics, you see, because one of the biggest problems of our politics, apart from corruption, is small-mindedness. The small-mindedness of our leadership and political class. The day we remove that small-mindedness, our lives become a whole lot better. So one, remove the small-mindedness. Two, plan properly. Because proper planning removes poor performance.
Yeah, certainly.
We must be able to plan as regards the infrastructure stock. Do we even have a compendium of all our governmental infrastructure stock? All government property, do we have a compendium? Do we have a place that manages it? I have always argued that what the government has in shared capital, governmental projects, land, property, and everything, is worth trillions that can be used for the economy.
Yeah.
But you see, because we don't have a thinking mindset, we leave all these things to waste. So the moment we start to now use all of these our dead capital, real estate dead capital, then we can make more money. And let me give you one example.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a place called former Federal Secretariat in Ikoyi. It used to be owned by the government. There's a squabble over that property. That property has been abandoned for so many years. See, that property can take apartments, maybe 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom apartments, over 50 to 60 of them.
Wow, that's quite huge.
It's a big structure. Yes. What I've always envisaged that if the government maybe runs in partnership or gives it to a developer, or somebody buys it off them, they can make a lot of revenue and they can run that place such a way that most of the workers that have to go to the mainland can get apartments and livable property there. But can I talk to you? That property is just abandoned.
Wow. Very unfortunate.
And that's just one out of so many dead capital we have in this country. So it shows you we don't think. So the problem is that it's not that Nigeria lacks resource. It's the problem that we lack thinkers that can translate resource into money. That's where leadership is a problem in Nigeria. So apart from that, we must have people that can think and create wealth and not be thieves that will thief the wealth they create and turn around things. This country is so blessed, my brother.
Yeah,
it's so blessed that we should not be having a country that where we can't complete projects. It's so blessed. But we have very, very shallow thinkers in the hands. And that's why we are having this problem.
All right,
and we have developed, listen to me.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have developed a culture of shallow thinking. That's why we need to change the mindset of our leadership.
All right, are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
All right, let's take a look at this particular one coming in from the DSS. Terrorist planning attack on religious and fund centers. DSS warns. This is coming on the heels of an operation that was carried out by the DSS, a joint operation by the DSS, the military and the police, which was carried out between Nasarawa State border town with the FCT and also Kogi State on the 19th and 22nd of June, where a terrorist gang leader was neutralized after a gun duel with the security agencies. And there is this warning, especially now that the Eid al-Kabir is around the corner sometime next week. There's this warning coming from the DSS that Nigerians should be aware, should be wary and be vigilant, especially that this mischief makers are mulling an attack on religious centers and also fund centers, markets, and the likes. But some are of the opinion that is it okay for DSS to be coming out to inform Nigerians of an impending attack by terrorists? Why not use the intelligence apparatus to nip it in the bud instead of throwing Nigerians into panic? Let me have your take on this particular information, Mr. Rufai.
There's also a need to be able to let Nigerians aware so that they feel be careful. But I also think that the DSS is using their own internal apparatus to be able to tackle threats on ground. So let us not abide by the threat. Let's be careful. Let's be watchful. Let's be eternally vigilant. And we hope that the security forces are come into action for anything that needs to be done to you.
All right, let's take a look at this one on the Guardian newspaper, which says, again, NNPC fails to remit as federations shares 786 billion for May. We've been having issue of non-remitters from NNPC. Again, there is issue of non-remitters coming from the NNPC. How can we take care of this issue once and for all? Although there is information that a committee has been set by the present administration to see how they can settle the quabbles that exist between the federations, that's the FAC, and also the NNPC. What should we do to take care of this situation, Mr. Rufai?
See the way I'm opening my mouth at gas. No, now.
it continues. This is not the first, second, or third time.
Wait, they've not been remitting for like a year, and the lie they were lying there was subsidy. Maybe we remove subsidy now. Subsidy gone.
Yes.
And they should be remitting the money now. Where is the money? Or I think they were saying somewhere that the government owes them something 1-2 trillion, or is it that one they want to net off that's not making them remit? The NNPC should be remitting money, please. They should quickly. Maybe they say it's because of subsidy, payment of subsidy. You see, that's why I say we need a forensic audit into what really went wrong. If we are a genuine country, we should have a forensic audit and people found culpable to face the full music. To face the full music. What sort of shenanigan has gone on in this country? The same NNPC that say, once the subsidy is removed, we'll be able to remit. Well, we are not remitting because we are netting the money for subsidy. Okay, remit now. Okay, maybe probably let's wait for next month and see if they're going to remit.
All right,
but we know they've not been remitting.
Oh, yeah.
It's just been the FIRS, you tax people that have been putting a lot of money in the pot. And we got an extra. So the argument they always make is that obviously when you float your currency and everything and the value of the Naira dollar increase, you have more Naira. So we got an extra, what is it called? We got an extra 680 million thereabouts in, currency variations for facts. So we added that more money. But I know that extra money too, even if they share that among the state governments will still eat that money for the boys. So please, everybody in each state, remember that your state got more money this time around though, from the dollar, from the floating of the currency. So please ask your governor that the extra, probably I don't know how they shared it, but the extra couple of chunk change on top of what you got, what did they use it for? And now that they've shared the fact, I think what we should also do is to be able to encourage other people. And I know people are listening to us in neighboring states around Abuja. Yeah. We will have to encourage you. Now that you know the amount, also follow up on your state and see what they're spending their fast revenue allocation in and what each state is getting. All right. So if your state is in there, know what they're spending on the money on. But really, in an ideal sense, the state should be self-sustainable. We should not be spending, revenue from the federal port. The state will be able to run their revenue and put something to the federal port. And that's the way it used to be before in Nigeria. The state, the region was going to, I think in the 1963 constitution, there was a certain amount of percentage they were going to give to the federal government. Yeah. And that's the way it's being run. That's what we're saying, restructuring and all of that. I was talking to my Indian friend yesterday, and she was telling me that a couple of the states in the south, I think Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Kerala and a couple of other states in the south of India. Yeah. She was telling me how viable those were. That they do all of this, they fix their encumbrances, fix water, fix infrastructure and everything, and they generate enough revenue within the state to be able to do that. They don't go cap in hand begging the central government. And she was telling me that, okay, it's only sort of like union territories, places as small as Pondicherry, that the federal government will intervene in and all. No, that nobody goes capping out. So that's what we are envisaging for Nigeria, because the states are very late and most of them are surprised.
Yesterday I didn't get the opportunity to get your opinion on the issue of DMO, because we're talking revenues. That is why it just came to my mind. Let me ask you this question. DMO that in the past have been coming out to say we are within the borrowing threshold, that we can still borrow. We don't have issue, even when Nigerians were raising alarm and eyebrows that the borrowing is becoming out of hand, but they kept on supporting the federal government. But now they are out saying that the debt to revenue ratio is getting to red, that the government should be wary. Government should to increase revenue generation from 10.49 trillion to about 15.5 trillion. What would you say about this activity of DMO?
No, but we always knew that was true before now. We always knew that was true, so we're not surprised. We always knew we had a big revenue problem. So the DMO can see anything. They can bobo anybody that they want to bobo, but the numbers don't lie. So, but we know we need to raise revenue. I'm not even looking at 15 trillion. I'm looking at considerably a comfortable zone of 20-25 trillion. Because even apart from your budget, it's not all the money you raise you should put in the budget. You should have some allowance for keeping. And that's why how to raise revenue. I think some areas can give us that revenue. If we harmonize our solid mineral sector and formalize a lot of the life, we can get some revenue from them. We can also get gas. But the problem is we're not ready to do the investment in gas. Nigeria is a gas-rich country. I've heard stories of people that are that have oil mining license, that they are prospecting for oil, and they dig the well, and when they spud, gas comes out and they close the well, and they say, no, I don't want gas, it's oil I want.
Yeah.
So all of those gas, if we can take it out of the ground, gas should be able to give us, in a couple of years, gas should be able to give us 20 billion US in rev. And if we harness it properly, we should do 50 to 60 billion in rev. So you see, the problem with Nigeria is not that we don't have the resource. It's so much a blessed country, but we don't have the thinker. And that's why a city as blessed as Lagos is now voted the fourth worst city to live in the world.
I would even get there because I want to have your take on that.
But I mean, it's self-explanatory now. What else do you want to hear?
Last year they were ranked second last year, and now fourth.
Yeah, so it's self-explanatory. And when we brought out the report then, that is the fourth worst city to live in the world, a lot of people say, oh no, you are saying it because of its politics and everything. You see, it is shallow-mindedness that makes people think when you give them feedback it's because of political reasons. It is shallow-mindedness.
Certainly.
I mean, we know a lot of things are not working. Take, for instance, a city that the public water system is not working, and it's a mega city. Just imagine that. The public water system isn't working. You just imagine that.
Water is
so
life.
I'm sure some people will even come out and say, we've made advancement that we were number 2 before, now we are number 4 and number this and number that, and all of that. I made mention of this thing a lot during the politics season, and when I'm asking questions, that how the Bola Ahmed Tinubu prevail over the worst livable city in the world. People will say it's a lie, they want to challenge the result, it's politics. And I look at them and laugh. And it's like, facts don't lie. I mean, we see how easy it is to navigate in a city like Lagos. It is difficult. And how can you put it in place? See, and what people fail to realize is that if a city is in the worst city to live in, you can actually change the problem. I was reading a book yesterday, and they were talking about a city called Mindanao. Mindanao is in Colombia. It's actually the city where Pablo Escobar was from.
Okay.
And Mindanao had one of the worst crime rates, drug cartels and all of that, and all sorts of crazy things that happened. But guess what? The truth has to be said. That city grew over the years, and now is one of the most livable cities in the world because they took on the problem and they solved it. But you see, by trying as much as possible to move away from the problem and attack other people, doesn't solve the problem. Doesn't solve the problem. We can fix it. We can do it. It's not by challenging the producers of the report and say they are wrong. Can you take the learnings, just keep quiet and go fix the problem?
Especially if you look at the indices they consider: stability, healthcare, culture, environment, education, and infrastructure.
And are they not right? Are they not right? Are there no bridges that have been condemned for so many years? Are there areas you can drive in Lagos? There are some areas. No. You see, when we say these things, we don't want to denigrate anybody on all of that.
Yeah.
We just want to, as much as possible, say it because these are facts on ground. I want people to take it through and make it better. So it's not to denigrate anybody.
All right, let's take a look at this one final one, I think, before we let you go. INEC to review conduct of 2023 polls. We already know that there are a lot of question marks characterized during the recently election conducted in Nigeria, and there is a case already ongoing, especially the presidential election that took place on the 25th of February 2023, where the candidate of the People's Democratic Party and his party, talking about Atiku Abubakar, and also Peter Obi of the Labour Party, challenging the outcome.
Okay, because of time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, just pause the introduction because of time. I have 6 questions to ask INEC
Mm,
as they want to review this 2023 election.
mm,
Why is the INEC chairman and commissioners who are unwilling refuse to appear before the tribunal to participate in a review calling for a non-bidding Biden stakeholder review?
mm.
Why is the INEC, or why has INEC refused to release electoral materials fully to petition to enable judges review how the election was conducted? Will INEC use the review to tell Nigerians why the presidential elections were not uploaded, having refused to do so at Presidential Election Petition Tribunal? Do you think INEC will use the INEC will use the forum to review and explain the glitches that they claim occurred why the presidential election result was not uploaded? INEC chairman is statutorily the chairman, chief returning officer for the presidential election. A duty personally carried out for days without delegation and declared winner. Why is he refusing to obey a subpoena issued on him as the maker of the documents at the tribunal? Why? Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
And why is that there's no key official of INEC, including Professor Mahmoud Yakub, National Commissioner, Secretary, Director of IT Operations, Director of Legal, unwilling to appear on subpoena to stand by the outcome of the election result declared at the tribunal for legal review? Does the current commission team of commissioners still command public trust and confidence to accept any findings review from them? I rest my case, my brother.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Faye Husseini. Those questions are really huge and strong questions that INEC should be ready to provide answers to Nigerians. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, have a lovely day ahead. That was Rufai Husseini, our guest analyst today on the front page review. And you heard he concluded by asking some salient questions that we hope INEC would provide answers to these questions, because we already know that it is no longer news that INEC are planning to have a review of the 2023 presidential election and also the National Assembly governorship election and state assembly election as well. And an overall review of the exercise is what INEC are planning to do. However, some will ask you this question: why would they want to review now? Why shouldn't they wait until after the presidential election tribunal? However, there are other cases that will be going down in the various states, talking about the challenging the outcome of election that was carried out by Independent National Electoral Commission. Don't forget, this is VOP 96.1 FM. And now you have a voice. VOP here in Abuja. We're new in town, but we're certainly not new in the business of broadcasting. We bring to you facts and figures. The way they happen, that is how we bring them to you. And we give you the opportunity to also be heard. That is why our tag is Voice of the People. Now you have a voice. Do well to make sure you connect with us, you interact with us across our social media handles. VOP961 on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. We're live there. And if you want to get more details about us, you can also visit our website on www.abuja.voiceofthepeople.ng. I'll take that again: www.abuja.voiceofthepeople.ng. And our studio line is always open. You can drop us a message or you call. We are here to respond to whatever it is that you have for us. The number to call 0700 010 961 961 0700 010 961 961. That is the studio line that you can make use of to get through to us in the studio. And this is where we call it the wrap on Front Pages Review for today, Friday. Thank God it's Friday. I wish you a lovely and splendid weekend ahead. My name is Ali Udoma. Do have a lovely day ahead.